Hello, Steve Arts 89. Well, there's a bit of drama over the film Sinners. Variety's in trouble. They're being called racist by a white man because they actually criticised the film or commented on the film's profitability. Because even though it just made 61 million in its opening weekend, 45 domestic and I think 16 internationally, it cost 90 million. So if it's going to make a profit, it has to make well over 180 million, because how it works in Hollywood is the studios make a film, they put it in theatres, they only get half that money back. The theatres keep the other money. And it's even worse internationally. Sometimes it's more than 50%, sometimes it's as low as 40%, sometimes it's as low as like 15-20% in some international markets. So, okay, so what? It made about 20 million, 25 million, something like that, on a $90 million budget. So it's going to have to keep going like this for quite a few weeks to actually make, like, more than 200 million. So it actually makes money. The chance of this happening with a small horror movie like this, Black Lead, it's not very likely. It's not impossible, but it's not very likely. And that's just the history of Hollywood. That's just how Hollywood works. Horror movies usually open big, all the horror fans run to see it, go crazy, and then they just sort of disappear because they don't have legs, because you don't have families and the normies coming back with their kids and all that to watch the films like they would a comedy or a kids movie or a drama or something like that. It just doesn't work that way. Horror movies open big and go away quickly. They don't have legs normally. Now, this could be different. It could be a cultural phenomena. It could have, groups of people who normally wouldn't see horror movies coming back again and again to see the film because of the other elements, because they hear the horror and the vampires are the least interesting part of the film. So it may be a case for an exception. But Hollywood Variety, for example, can't just assume that. They have to assume it's going to be business as normal. So that's what they did. They basically said, okay, it's looking really good, made 61 million, but it's on a 90 million budget, so the chance of making money is... And Ben Stiller got all upset and said, in what world is this not, going to be a successful film? And obviously Variety's only saying this because they're black and they just can't perceive a black person being successful or being popular or being supported by an audience or the audience or something. And I'm like, really, Ben, you've made films, you've produced films, you know better. What the hell is this about? Are you trying to score points or something? Because, like I said, unless this film becomes a cultural phenomena, it's going to disappear in a few weeks, and it's not going to make enough money to be profitable. That's just the likelihood. And that's not racist to say that. That's just maths. That's Hollywood, that's maths. And I think what's happened is, because there are not a lot of black filmmakers that are doing as well as Ryan Coogler, I think some people who are coming out to support him are people who don't necessarily normally pay attention to Hollywood and movie maths. And they don't really understand, and they're just seeing this attack on this black person, this black filmmaker, and they're defending it because they don't know how Hollywood works, how Hollywood makes money. They don't know how horror movies usually run, and they are reading something into that and making a big case out of it. And it's kind of sad. I mean, it's good in a way that some people who normally wouldn't be paying attention and supporting artists are supporting this artist, but they also don't know shit about Hollywood. And it's kind of funny to see them come out and be like, being upset and saying stuff when they're not being racist, they're just talking maths, they're just talking Hollywood. And it's kind of funny. But we'll see. It may be a cultural phenomenon. It may just, people who normally wouldn't support this sort of film may just keep coming out, and people who are enjoying this film may not be enjoying it for the horror elements. So those other elements of the film, the cultural elements of those films that makes it significant, may be what brings them back again, or brings other people out based on word of mouth. I still doubt it's going to make much money. It's cost too much money. Horror movies don't cost a lot of money. Films like Megan cost 10 million or something? I don't know what they made that for, but the idea with horror is they're cheap, basic films. Basically, a person with some CGI gore makeup or some prosthetic makeups basically run around killing people in small, filmed on location sets and locations. Horror movies don't cost a lot of money traditionally, but they can make, at least on the box office sort of opening weekend sort of dealy, they can make some money and have a little bit of popularity, but they do usually just don't last. Which is sad. I didn't really think about it, but it's true. It's true. You see a lot of horror movies pop up, do a decent bit of business, and if they are a cheap film, they'll make money. And that's why people like Blumhouse exist, because they don't spend a lot of money on their films, and they make a lot of films, a variety of films, and they all kind of do okay. And that's fine. But if you start spending $90 million on these films to get stars like Michael B. Jordan to play like two characters, you're not going to make money. Unless you're appealing to a bigger audience, a broader audience, but then that's a whole nother game. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Variety's movie Maths, and is it racist or not? I don't think so. Well, I know it's not.